Tuesday started like any other. I left work early, thinking I could surprise Rachel with a cozy evening. Little did I know, this would be the day that would unravel everything I thought I knew about our life together. As I drove up to our house, I noticed a strange car parked in the driveway. It seemed out of place, but I brushed it off. When I walked through the front door, a muffled, unfamiliar voice greeted me, causing an odd chill to creep down my spine. I paused, my senses on high alert. Curiosity and unease propelled me forward. I followed the sound to the living room, where a scene I never imagined confronted me. There, on our well-worn couch, was Rachel, nestled against a man who was certainly not me. Their closeness, their shared laughter, everything about it was a stark violation of the trust we had built over 23 years. A cold wave of realization hit me like a ton of bricks. My heart raced. My hands trembled as I tried to process what I was seeing. The man, whose presence was an intrusion into my life, scrambled to stand as he noticed me, his face an expression of sheer panic. Rachel's gaze was a mix of shock and guilt as she saw me. The laughter died in her throat, replaced by an uneasy silence. My world felt like it had stopped spinning. I stood there frozen, struggling to grasp the enormity of this betrayal. "Rachel, what's going on?" I finally managed to choke out, my voice quivering with a mix of anger and hurt. Her attempts to explain were feeble, her words stumbling over each other in an attempt to justify the unjustifiable. She muttered about a moment of weakness, and it didn't mean anything, but her words fell flat. The man, clearly sensing the gravity of the situation, hastily gathered his things and fled. I was left alone with Rachel, the silence between us now thick with a new and unbearable weight. In the days that followed, I was consumed by a storm of emotions. The betrayal was not just about Rachel's infidelity. It was about the shattered illusion of our life together. The trust we had built, the memories we had shared, all seemed to crumble into dust. And as I wrestled with the chaos inside me, a dark resolve began to form. I wanted to make them understand the pain they had caused. I wanted to ensure that their actions had consequences. It wasn't enough to simply be hurt. I needed them to face retribution for their betrayal. What began as a moment of personal devastation soon evolved into a quest for justice. I set my sights on uncovering every detail about Rachel's lover, determined to use this knowledge to orchestrate a response that would leave a mark. The seeds of revenge had been planted, and they were about to grow into a relentless pursuit that would transform our lives in ways I could scarcely imagine. This was only the beginning of a story that would reshape everything I thought I knew about trust, betrayal, and retribution. In the wake of that dreadful Tuesday, the days felt like an endless blur. My mind raced, torn between anger and a desire for retribution. I knew I had to act, but I needed a plan, one that would not only address the betrayal, but ensure that Rachel and her lover felt the full impact of their actions. The first step was to gather information. I began by delving into the details of Rachel's lover. I learned his name was Tom Harris. He was a mid-level executive at a marketing firm downtown. His social media profiles revealed a lot. He was active on LinkedIn, had a presence on Twitter, and posted frequently about his hobbies on Instagram. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became that he was a man who enjoyed a certain image, successful, respected, and well-liked. I knew that to hit Tom where it would hurt, I needed to target the aspects of his life he valued most. I started by creating a detailed profile of his professional and personal life. I discovered his work email, office address, and even some of his interests. His company's annual performance reviews and his reputation were matters he took pride in. This was where I would focus my efforts. With this knowledge in hand, I began to execute my plan. I drafted a series of anonymous letters, filled with detailed accusations and fabricated evidence suggesting Tom's unethical behavior at work. The letters implied that Tom had been involved in a series of questionable business dealings aimed at undermining his reputation within the company. I sent these letters to his boss and a few key colleagues. Simultaneously, I created a fake social media account to share these accusations anonymously. Using Tom's interests and habits, I crafted posts that hinted at his failings and questioned his integrity. The idea was to create a ripple effect, stirring doubt and damaging his reputation among his peers and online followers. Rachel's reaction to the fallout was a mix of confusion and distress. She attempted to reach out, trying to explain and make amends, but her words felt hollow. Her attempts to fix what was irreparably broken only served to deepen my resolve. I was determined to make sure she understood that this betrayal had consequences beyond the personal realm. The next phase of my plan involved confronting Tom directly. I arranged a meeting under the pretense of discussing a mutual business interest. When we met, I was prepared to confront him with the evidence I'd gathered. I wanted him to understand the full scope of his actions and the impact they had on my life. The confrontation was tense. Tom, visibly shaken, tried to defend himself, but I was unrelenting. I laid out all the information I had, revealing how I had dismantled his carefully crafted public image. He was defensive and desperate, his veneer of confidence slipping away. The sight of his anguish was a twisted form of satisfaction for me, a sign that my plan was working. As the days turned into weeks, the effects of my actions began to manifest. Tom faced scrutiny at work, his reputation marred by the anonymous accusations. His personal life, once a source of pride, was now under a cloud of suspicion. Rachel, watching the consequences of her actions unfold, seemed to be realizing the gravity of the situation, though it was too late for apologies. The pain of betrayal was still fresh, but with each step of my plan, I felt a semblance of control returning. The vengeance I sought was becoming a reality, and the once clear lines of right and wrong were now blurred by the pursuit of justice. My quest for retribution had set a new course, one that would test my limits and ultimately reshape the future of all involved. With Tom's reputation in tatters and his professional life in disarray, I began to see the results of my actions. The anonymous letters and social media posts had created a whirlwind of doubt around him, and the fallout was evident. His colleagues whispered behind closed doors, and his boss looked at him with a mixture of suspicion and disappointment. The damage was clear, and I couldn't help but feel a grim satisfaction. Rachel's response to this turmoil was a mix of panic and desperation. She reached out to me repeatedly, trying to mend the rift between us. Her attempts to communicate were filled with regret and pleas for understanding, but how could I reconcile with someone who had so fundamentally betrayed me? Her apologies seemed insincere, a futile attempt to undo the irreversible damage. One evening, after days of persistent pleading from Rachel, I agreed to meet with her. The meeting took place at a small cafe, a place we used to visit often. As I sat there waiting for her to arrive, I couldn't help but reflect on the life we once had. It felt like a lifetime ago, and the betrayal had created an insurmountable gulf between us. When Rachel finally arrived, her face was pale, her eyes red from tears. She sat down across from me, her hands trembling slightly. "I didn't think it would come to this," she said, her voice cracking. "I never meant for things to get so out of hand." I stared at her, struggling to keep my emotions in check. "You didn't mean for it to come to this?" I replied, my voice cold. "You didn't think about the consequences when you decided to have an affair?" Rachel's attempts to justify her actions only deepened my anger. She spoke about feeling unfulfilled and about her struggles, but none of it seemed to matter now. The trust we had built was gone, and no amount of reasoning could bring it back. As our conversation continued, it became clear that Rachel was not only trying to salvage our relationship, but also to shield Tom from further repercussions. She was aware of the impact of my actions on his life, and in some twisted way, felt responsible for the chaos that had ensued. Rachel's emotional state was evident. She broke down in tears, pleading for a chance to make things right. But for me, the damage had already been done. Her pleas were met with silence as I grappled with the enormity of what had transpired. The meeting ended with no resolution, only an overwhelming sense of finality. I walked away from the cafe, feeling a mix of sadness and vindication. The path of revenge had been paved with broken trust and shattered relationships, and the journey was far from over. The next step in my plan was to directly confront Tom in the aftermath of his actions. I arranged another meeting, this time with the intent of making him face the full scope of the repercussions. When we met, Tom's demeanor was one of resignation. He had lost his job, his social standing was in question, and his personal life was a mess. I laid out the consequences of his betrayal in stark terms. "You're facing these challenges because of the choices you made," I told him. "You thought you could come into my life and disrupt everything, but actions have consequences." Tom's response was a mix of anger and resignation. He tried to defend himself, but his words were hollow. I could see the toll that the exposure and the subsequent scrutiny had taken on him. It was a bitter reminder that while revenge might offer temporary satisfaction, it also brought a sense of emptiness. As the confrontation ended, I realized that the quest for retribution had come with its own set of costs. The satisfaction of seeing Tom suffer was overshadowed by the emotional toll it had taken on me. The line between justice and vengeance had become blurred, and I was left to confront the consequences of my actions. The chapter on betrayal and revenge was nearing its end, but the effects would ripple through our lives for a long time to come. The path I had chosen had led me to a place of deep reflection, and as I prepared for the next phase of my journey, I knew that the journey to healing and closure would be a long and difficult one. With Tom's professional life in tatters and his personal life a mess, the impact of my revenge was undeniable. The anonymous letters and social media posts had achieved their intended effect, leaving Tom isolated and struggling. Rachel, meanwhile, was consumed by guilt and anxiety, unable to escape the fallout of her actions. As the weeks passed, the reality of the situation began to set in. Rachel's attempts to reach out and repair our relationship had dwindled. She seemed to realize that no amount of regret or pleading could undo the damage. The silence between us grew heavier, and the once familiar comfort of our home now felt like a prison. I found myself reflecting on the journey that had led me here. The quest for vengeance had brought temporary relief, but left a lingering sense of emptiness. The satisfaction of seeing Tom's downfall was overshadowed by the realization that revenge, while satisfying, had not provided the closure I had hoped for. The pain and betrayal remained, and I had to confront the reality that moving forward would require more than just retaliation. During this time, I began to focus on myself and my healing. I sought counseling to help process the emotional trauma and gain perspective on the situation. The sessions provided a space to unravel the complex web of feelings, anger, hurt, and loss, and to begin understanding how to rebuild my life. As I worked through my emotions, I also started to reconnect with old friends and explore new interests. I realized that while the betrayal had taken a significant toll, it also presented an opportunity for personal growth. The experience forced me to reevaluate my priorities and to consider what I truly wanted from life moving forward. One day, while attending a networking event, I met a woman named Laura. She was warm and genuine, and showed a remarkable ability to listen and empathize. Our conversations were refreshing, and I found myself enjoying her company more and more. Laura had a way of making me feel understood and valued, something I hadn't felt in a long time. As our relationship developed, I was cautious but hopeful. Laura's presence brought a sense of normalcy back into my life. Her support helped me navigate the aftermath of the betrayal and provided a new perspective on what it meant to trust and be trusted. While my journey toward healing was ongoing, I found solace in the idea that the future held promise. The pain of betrayal had transformed into a catalyst for change, prompting me to seek a path that was not defined by past grievances, but by new opportunities for happiness and fulfillment. Rachel and Tom's lives continued to be a part of my past, but they no longer dictated my future. I had learned that vengeance, though satisfying in the short term, did not provide lasting peace. True resolution came from within, through self-reflection and the willingness to embrace new beginnings. As I looked ahead, I knew that the road to recovery was still long. However, the lessons learned from the betrayal and the journey through revenge equipped me with a deeper understanding of myself and a renewed sense of purpose. Laura's presence in my life was a symbol of this new chapter, a reminder that even after the darkest storms, there is always the possibility of finding light and moving forward. As I began to forge a new path with Laura by my side, the journey of self-discovery became more pronounced. The pain of the betrayal had lessened, but its effects still lingered, influencing how I approached life and relationships. I was determined to learn from the past and not let it define my future. Laura and I grew closer, and her presence provided a sense of stability and comfort that I had missed. Our conversations were deep and honest, and her ability to listen without judgment became a cornerstone of our relationship. We explored common interests and built new memories, slowly reconstructing the trust that had been so violently shattered before. During this time, I began to set personal goals and pursue passions that had long been dormant. I took up new hobbies, such as painting and hiking, which allowed me to reconnect with myself in ways I hadn't anticipated. The creative process of painting became a therapeutic outlet, a way to express the emotions I had kept bottled up. Hiking, on the other hand, offered solitude and clarity, helping me to reflect and gain perspective on my life's direction. I also made a conscious effort to rebuild my social connections. I reached out to old friends, some of whom I had lost touch with over the years. Reconnecting with them was both refreshing and grounding. Their support and companionship were a reminder that I was not alone, and that there was a community of people who cared about me. One of the most significant changes was my approach to forgiveness. I realized that holding on to anger and resentment only impeded my healing. I began to work on forgiving Rachel and Tom, not for their sake, but for my peace of mind. It was a gradual process, involving acknowledging the hurt, but choosing not to let it control my emotions. Forgiving Rachel was particularly challenging. The pain of her betrayal had been profound, and the journey to forgiveness required introspection and self-compassion. I had to accept that while her actions had deeply hurt me, I could not let them dictate my future happiness. In letting go of my anger, I freed myself from the emotional weight that had burdened me for so long. Tom, on the other hand, became a distant figure in my past. While I acknowledged the impact of his actions, I focused on moving forward rather than dwelling on his misdeeds. His role in my story was significant, but it was no longer central to my life. As I continued to heal, I also took steps to create a future that aligned with my newfound values. I explored new career opportunities that resonated with my passions and began volunteering in community projects that gave me a sense of purpose. These activities not only enriched my life, but also reinforced my commitment to personal growth and making a positive impact. Laura remained a constant source of support and encouragement. Our relationship deepened as we faced challenges together and celebrated each other's successes. We made plans for the future, discussing dreams and aspirations with a sense of optimism that had been absent for years. The emergence of my true self, free from the shadows of betrayal and revenge, marked a pivotal point in my journey. I had learned that personal growth and happiness came from within, shaped by how I chose to respond to life's trials. The lessons from the past had become a foundation for a more fulfilling future, one built on trust, forgiveness, and the pursuit of genuine connections. Looking back, I saw the journey not as a path of destruction, but as one of transformation. The pain and revenge had given way to self-discovery and renewal. As I continued to move forward with Laura by my side, I embraced the future with hope and resilience, ready to build a life defined by positivity and growth. Months had passed since I had begun rebuilding my life, and the pain of the past was becoming more manageable. Laura and I were navigating our new relationship with growing confidence, and I was finding joy in the fresh start we had created together. The stability and happiness I had longed for were finally within reach. One crisp autumn afternoon, I decided to take a walk through the park to clear my mind and enjoy the changing season. Laura was busy with work, and I cherished these moments of solitude for reflection. As I strolled along the winding paths, the vibrant colors of the leaves were a stark contrast to the gray memories that had once overshadowed my life. It was during this peaceful walk that I had an encounter that I hadn't anticipated. Rachel. She was sitting on a bench alone, with a book in her lap. The sight of her caused a jolt of surprise and unease. I hadn't seen her in months, and had no intention of running into her, but there she was. At first, I considered walking past without acknowledging her, but something compelled me to stop. I approached cautiously, my heart pounding with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. As I neared the bench, Rachel looked up, her eyes widening in recognition. "Jason?" she said, her voice tinged with both surprise and uncertainty. "I didn't expect to see you here." I nodded, unsure of how to respond. "Rachel, it's been a while." She looked down at the book in her hands, clearly grappling with the emotions of the encounter. After a moment, she took a deep breath and looked back at me. "Can we talk?" The request caught me off guard, but I nodded and sat down on the opposite end of the bench. The air between us was charged with the weight of our shared past. Rachel's demeanor was different from the last time we had met. She seemed more composed, though the sorrow in her eyes was evident. "I wanted to apologize," Rachel began, her voice trembling slightly. "I know that nothing I say can undo the pain I caused you, but I need you to know how deeply sorry I am." Her apology was sincere, but it didn't erase the hurt or the damage done. "Rachel, you don't need to explain," I said quietly. The betrayal was profound, and no words can change what happened. Rachel nodded, her expression a mixture of regret and resignation. I've been reflecting on everything that happened, and I realize now how selfish I was. I never intended for things to spiral so out of control. We sat in silence for a few moments, each lost in our thoughts. I could see the toll the past months had taken on her. The once vibrant and confident woman I had known was now a shadow of her former self. It was clear that the consequences of her actions had weighed heavily on her. I've been trying to move forward, Rachel continued. I've been seeing a counselor and trying to make amends in my way. I understand if you can never forgive me, but I needed to tell you how sorry I am. I listened to my own emotions in turmoil. Part of me wanted to hold on to the anger and resentment, but another part of me recognized the importance of closure. I appreciate your apology, Rachel, I said slowly. It's a step towards healing for both of us, even if it's a small one. The conversation shifted to lighter topics as Rachel spoke about her journey and the steps she had taken towards personal growth. It was strange to hear her talk about her experiences, and while I felt a pang of empathy, it was tempered by the knowledge of our fractured past. As we wrapped up our conversation, Rachel stood up and offered a tentative smile. Thank you for listening, Jason. I hope you find the peace you deserve. I watched her walk away, feeling a mix of relief and sadness. The encounter was unexpected, but it provided a sense of closure. Rachel's apology, while meaningful, did not change the past, but it offered a way to acknowledge it and move forward. As I continued my walk through the park, I reflected on the encounter and the journey that had brought me to this point. The unexpected meeting with Rachel was a reminder of the complexities of human relationships and the importance of moving forward with grace. Laura and I had built something new and positive, and I was determined to focus on that. The past would always be a part of my story, but it no longer defined my future. As I walked away from the park, I felt a renewed sense of clarity and a deeper understanding of what it meant to embrace the present and look toward the future with hope. With the unexpected encounter with Rachel behind me, life seemed to settle into a more predictable rhythm. Laura and I continued to grow closer, finding joy in the simplicity of our daily routines and the shared experiences that brought us closer together. I felt a renewed sense of purpose and direction, and the healing process was ongoing. One evening, as Laura and I were planning a weekend getaway, I received an unexpected phone call. It was a mutual friend, Mike, who had heard about the turmoil I'd been through and wanted to catch up. He mentioned he had some news that might interest me and suggested we meet for coffee. Curious, I agreed to meet him at a local cafe the next day. When we sat down, Mike wasted no time in getting to the point. Jason, I don't know if you've heard, but there's been a lot of talk around town about the situation with Tom and Rachel. It seems like things have taken a turn I didn't expect. I was intrigued but guarded. What do you mean? Mike hesitated, then continued. Tom's been trying to make a comeback. He's started a new business venture, and from what I hear, it's gaining traction. I've also heard rumors that he's attempting to reach out to people he wronged in the past, trying to make amends. The news caught me off guard. I had been so focused on my recovery and moving forward that I hadn't paid much attention to what Tom was doing. The idea of him trying to rebuild his life and make amends stirred a complex mix of emotions within me. Part of me was curious about his efforts, while another part was skeptical of his motivations. Mike continued, I know it's been a while, but I thought you should know. Sometimes people change, and maybe there's more to Tom's story than we initially realized. After our conversation, I found myself contemplating Mike's words. The idea of Tom attempting to make amends was unexpected, and I was unsure how to process it. While the pain of the betrayal was still there, the thought of Tom trying to change made me question whether I should simply move on or if there was room for further resolution. Laura noticed my distraction when I returned home and asked about the meeting. I shared the details with her, and she listened attentively. It sounds like Tom is trying to turn over a new leaf, she said. What do you think about reaching out to him? The suggestion surprised me. Laura's insight was always thoughtful, and her support has been instrumental in my healing. She encouraged me to consider whether confronting Tom again could offer a sense of closure or if it was simply a distraction from moving forward. After some reflection, I decided to take a cautious approach. I reached out to Tom through a neutral channel, requesting a brief meeting to discuss the recent developments. To my surprise, he agreed, and we set a date to meet at a cafe. When the day of the meeting arrived, I approached it with an open mind, but guarded expectations. Tom was waiting when I arrived, his demeanor more subdued than I remembered. We exchanged pleasantries, and I could sense the tension in the air as we settled into our seats. Tom began by acknowledging the past and the impact of his actions. "Jason, I know my past behavior was inexcusable, and I don't expect you to forgive me easily. I've been working hard to make amends and rebuild my life. I've realized how wrong I was and how much I've hurt people along the way." His words were measured and sincere, but I remained cautious. "I appreciate you reaching out, Tom. It's been a difficult journey for me, and while I can see that you're trying to make things right, I'm still grappling with the aftermath of everything that happened." Tom nodded, understanding the gravity of my response. "I understand. I'm not here to ask for anything other than a chance to explain myself and to let you know that I'm genuinely trying to change." The conversation continued, with Tom sharing more about his efforts to rehabilitate his reputation and make positive changes in his life. I listened, processing his words and weighing the sincerity of his actions. While it was clear that he was making an effort, the scars of the past remained. As our meeting concluded, Tom extended his hand, and I shook it, acknowledging the attempt at reconciliation. "Thank you for meeting with me, Jason. I hope that in time you can find some peace, even if it's not through my actions." I left the cafe with mixed feelings. The meeting had been an opportunity to hear Tom's side of the story and to see his efforts at making amends. While it didn't erase the past or the pain it had caused, it provided a new perspective on the complexities of personal growth and forgiveness. Returning home, I reflected on the meeting and the implications it had for my journey. The turning point offered a chance for new understanding, and while the past would always be a part of me, I was determined to continue moving forward with the support of those who mattered most. The meeting with Tom had been a surprising development, but I was ready to focus on my future and the positive changes I had been making with Laura. Life seemed to be moving in a direction of stability and growth, and I was optimistic about what lay ahead. But, as often happens, life has another twist in store. A few weeks after I met with Tom, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from a lawyer's office, and the message was brief but intriguing. There was a legal matter related to the recent business activities of Tom that required my attention. The lawyer wanted to discuss potential implications for me. Curious and slightly apprehensive, I arranged a meeting with the lawyer, whose office was located in a sleek high-rise downtown. When I arrived, the lawyer, Mr. Green, greeted me with a professional demeanor and led me into his office. "Mr. Adams," he began, "I appreciate you coming in. I'm here to discuss some recent developments involving Tom's new business venture. It appears there are legal claims against him that could have broader implications." Mr. Green proceeded to explain that Tom's new business, while initially appearing successful, was under investigation for financial misconduct. There were allegations of fraud, and some of the practices he was involved in were under scrutiny by authorities. The investigation revealed that Tom had used deceptive tactics that indirectly impacted several people, including myself, due to his past actions. "This isn't just about business practices," Mr. Green continued. "There are also concerns that Tom may have tried to manipulate or influence the outcome of the investigation by reaching out to individuals he had wronged, including you." The revelation was shocking. The idea that Tom's attempts at making amends might be part of a larger scheme to mitigate his legal troubles was unsettling. It made me question the authenticity of his recent efforts and whether his apology had been sincere or merely a strategic move. Mr. Green handed me a document outlining the details of the case and advised me to stay informed and possibly consider my legal standing in the situation. The complexity of the case and its potential implications for me were overwhelming. I left the meeting with a heavy heart, feeling a renewed sense of uncertainty. When I returned home, Laura noticed my distress and asked about the meeting. I explained the situation, detailing the legal concerns and the potential connection to Tom's recent business activities. Her support was unwavering, and she encouraged me to approach the situation with caution and to seek further advice if needed. With Laura's encouragement, I decided to consult with my lawyer to understand the potential impact on my life and to determine the best course of action. The legal landscape was complex, and I needed to ensure that I was protected from any possible repercussions. As I navigated the legal complexities, I received additional information from Mr. Green. It appeared that Tom was cooperating with the authorities and trying to resolve the allegations against him. However, the situation was fluid, and it was uncertain how it would ultimately unfold. In the meantime, I continued to focus on my personal growth and my relationship with Laura. The legal troubles surrounding Tom were a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life and the importance of maintaining perspective. While the situation was challenging, I was determined to face it head-on and to protect my interests. The unforeseen twist had added a layer of complexity to my journey, but it also reinforced my resolve to move forward with integrity and resilience. I continued to build on the positive aspects of my life, cherishing the support of Laura and the progress I had made in my personal and professional endeavors. As the legal situation developed, I remained vigilant and prepared to address any issues that might arise. The experience had taught me the importance of staying informed and proactive, and I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with the strength and clarity I had gained from my journey. The chapter of my life was evolving, and while the path was not without obstacles, I remained committed to forging a future defined by growth, understanding, and resilience. The unforeseen twist was a testament to the unpredictability of life, but it also reinforced the value of perseverance and the importance of staying true to oneself amidst adversity. As the legal situation involving Tom continued to unfold, I found myself increasingly consumed by the complexities of the case. The uncertainty and stress of the ongoing investigation were affecting my focus and emotions. Despite the efforts to maintain normalcy in my life, the shadows of the past were casting a long and unpredictable shadow. One evening, as Laura and I were relaxing at home, I received another phone call from Mr. Green. He requested an urgent meeting to discuss a significant development in Tom's case. The tone of his voice was serious, and I could tell that the matter was of great importance. I agreed to meet him the following morning at his office. When I arrived at Mr. Green's office, he greeted me with a concerned expression. "Jason, I have some important information regarding Tom's situation," he began. "The investigation has reached a critical point, and there are new revelations that directly impact you." He handed me a folder containing detailed documents. "Tom has been implicated in a scheme involving fraudulent financial transactions. It appears that some of these transactions may have had indirect effects on you, including possible attempts to manipulate or affect the outcomes of legal processes." As I reviewed the documents, the gravity of the situation became evident. Tom's actions, while initially appearing to be part of a genuine effort to turn his life around, were now implicated in a broader pattern of deceit and manipulation. The implications for me were serious, and it was clear that I needed to take immediate action to protect myself. Mr. Green continued, "Tom's defense team is attempting to argue that his recent actions were part of a larger strategy to make amends, but the evidence suggests otherwise. There are indications that he was using these efforts as a cover for his unlawful activities." The news was a bitter pill to swallow. The idea that Tom's attempts to reconcile were part of a larger scheme to manipulate outcomes and avoid consequences was both disheartening and infuriating. It confirmed my suspicions that his apology and efforts at making amends might have been disingenuous. "Given the new information, you have a few options," Mr. Green said. "You can choose to be involved in the ongoing legal proceedings as a witness, or you can decide to distance yourself from the case. However, given the potential impact on you, I recommend taking a proactive stance." After careful consideration, I decided to cooperate with the authorities. I wanted to ensure that the truth was revealed and that Tom faced the consequences of his actions. I felt a sense of responsibility to be part of the resolution and to stand up against the manipulation and deceit. The following weeks were intense. I worked closely with Mr. Green and the legal team, providing testimony and participating in the legal process. The experience was demanding, both mentally and emotionally, but I was determined to see it through. Throughout this period, Laura's support was unwavering. She stood by me, offering encouragement and understanding as I navigated the complexities of the legal proceedings. Her presence was a source of strength, and her belief in my integrity helped me stay focused on the task at hand. As the legal case progressed, Tom's actions and motives were scrutinized in court. The evidence of his fraudulent activities and manipulations came to light, confirming the suspicions that had been raised. The process was arduous, but it was a crucial step in holding Tom accountable for his actions. In the end, Tom faced significant legal consequences for his involvement in the fraudulent scheme. The resolution of the case was a mixed victory. While it provided a sense of justice and closure, it also served as a reminder of the complex and often painful nature of human relationships and legal battles. The moment of truth had been a defining chapter in my journey. It reinforced the importance of confronting challenges with courage and integrity, even when the path was fraught with difficulties. The legal resolution brought a sense of closure, but the experience also deepened my understanding of the complexities of human behavior and the importance of standing up for what is right. As I moved forward, I was grateful for the support of Laura and the lessons learned throughout this tumultuous period. The journey had been arduous, but it had also been a testament to resilience and the pursuit of justice. I looked ahead with a renewed sense of purpose, ready to embrace the future with the strength and clarity gained from facing the moment of truth. With the legal proceedings behind me and the truth about Tom's actions revealed, life began to settle into a new normal. The resolution of the case brought a sense of relief and closure, but the experience changed me in profound ways. I was ready to embrace the future with a renewed outlook and a clearer sense of purpose. Laura and I decided to take a step back and focus on what truly mattered, our relationship and our personal growth. We planned a long-awaited trip to a serene lakeside cabin, a place where we could unwind and reconnect away from the stresses of everyday life. It was a much-needed break and a chance to reflect on the journey we had both endured. The cabin was nestled in a tranquil forest, with a beautiful lake that mirrored the clear blue sky. The scenery was breathtaking, and the peaceful environment provided the perfect backdrop for relaxation and contemplation. As we settled into the cabin, I felt a sense of tranquility that had eluded me for months. We spent our days hiking through the forest, kayaking on the lake, and enjoying simple pleasures like cooking meals together and stargazing at night. The time away from the complexities of our daily lives allowed us to reconnect on a deeper level and appreciate the strength of our bond. During one of our evening walks by the lake, Laura and I reflected on the events of the past year. We talked openly about our hopes and dreams for the future, discussing how we wanted to build on the positive changes we had made and what new goals we wanted to pursue. "I've realized how much we've grown through all of this," Laura said as we walked hand in hand. "The challenges we faced have brought us closer together and made us stronger. I'm excited about the future we're building." Her words resonated deeply with me. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been transformative. We had faced adversity together, and our relationship had emerged stronger as a result. I felt a renewed sense of gratitude for Laura's unwavering support and for the lessons learned along the way. As we approached the end of our trip, I took the opportunity to express my appreciation to Laura. "Thank you for being by my side through everything. Your support has meant more to me than I can express. I'm looking forward to building a future together and embracing new adventures." Laura smiled, her eyes reflecting the warmth and love we had nurtured throughout our journey. "I'm grateful for our journey, too. It's made us who we are today, and I'm excited about the new chapter we're starting." Returning from the cabin, we both felt rejuvenated and ready to embrace the next phase of our lives. The experiences of the past year have taught us valuable lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the importance of moving forward with purpose. We began to implement new goals and plans for our future, focusing on personal and professional growth. I explored new career opportunities that aligned with my passions and interests, while Laura pursued her aspirations with renewed vigor. We also continued to invest in our relationship, making time for each other and nurturing the bond that had been strengthened through adversity. The new chapter was marked by a sense of optimism and excitement. We were committed to building a life defined by positivity, growth, and shared experiences. The challenges we faced shaped our outlook and provided us with a deeper appreciation for the value of love and resilience. As I looked ahead, I embraced the future with a sense of clarity and hope. The journey had been arduous, but it had also been a testament to the power of perseverance and the strength of the human spirit. The beginning of this new chapter was an opportunity to continue building a life filled with meaning and fulfillment. With Laura by my side and a renewed sense of purpose, I felt ready to face whatever the future held. The past had shaped me, but it no longer defined me. The new chapter was a chance to embrace life with open arms and to create a future grounded in love, growth, and the promise of new beginnings. As we settled into our new routine and continued to build our future together, life seemed to be moving in a positive direction. The legal battle was behind us, and our relationship had grown stronger from the trials we had faced. However, the peace we had worked so hard to achieve was disrupted by an unexpected revelation that would challenge everything we thought we had resolved. It began with a letter that arrived one morning. It was from a private investigator I had never heard of before. The letter was brief and stated that the investigator had uncovered some information that might be of significant importance to me. The tone of the letter was professional but urgent, and it piqued my curiosity and concern. I decided to contact the investigator, whose name was Miss Carter. We arranged a meeting at her office, which was located in a nondescript building downtown. When I arrived, she greeted me and led me to a small conference room. "Mr. Adams," she began, "I understand you received my letter. I have some information that I believe you need to be aware of regarding Tom and his recent activities." She handed me a folder, which contained documents and photographs. As I reviewed the contents, my heart sank. The documents revealed that Tom had been involved in an elaborate scheme to manipulate not just his legal situation, but also to influence other individuals' personal and professional lives. The photos showed Tom meeting with various individuals and engaging in covert activities that extended beyond what we had previously known. This information came to light during my investigation into Tom's business dealings, Miss Carter explained. It seems that Tom's efforts to clear his name were part of a broader strategy to regain control and influence over his past mistakes. His manipulations were more extensive than initially realized. The revelation was both shocking and unsettling. It was clear that Tom's deceit extended far beyond what we had uncovered previously. His actions had been part of a complex web of manipulation and control, and it was evident that he had continued to operate in ways that could affect many people, including myself. Miss Carter continued, "There are indications that Tom may have been targeting individuals who had been part of his past, trying to sway their perceptions and outcomes in his favor. It's possible that his recent attempts to reconcile were part of this larger strategy." The new information added a layer of complexity to the situation. It was evident that Tom's actions were not merely about making amends, but were part of a calculated effort to regain power and control. The extent of his manipulations was disturbing, and it made me question the true nature of his intentions. I thanked Miss Carter for her work and decided to share the information with Laura. Her support had been instrumental throughout this journey, and I knew that facing this new revelation would be easier with her by my side. When I told Laura about the findings, she was equally shocked and concerned. "It's incredible how far-reaching Tom's manipulations were," she said. "It's a reminder of how complex and unpredictable people can be. We need to be cautious and stay informed." We both agreed that it was important to stay vigilant and to consider the potential implications of the new information. While the revelation was troubling, it also reinforced the importance of being aware of the broader picture and the ongoing impact of past actions. In the days that followed, I worked with Miss Carter to understand the full extent of Tom's activities and to assess any potential risks. The investigation provided a clearer picture of Tom's schemes and helped us to navigate the situation with greater awareness. The revelation was a sobering reminder of the complexities of human behavior and the often hidden motives that drive people's actions. It reaffirmed the importance of remaining vigilant and proactive, even when it seemed that a situation had been resolved. As I continued to process the new information, I was grateful for Laura's unwavering support and for the clarity it brought to our understanding of the situation. The journey had been full of unexpected twists and turns, but it had also been a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of confronting challenges with integrity. The revelation marked another turning point in our journey, and it served as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life. With renewed determination and a clearer understanding of the past, I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead and to continue building a future defined by strength, resilience, and hope. With the unsettling revelation about Tom's extensive manipulations, Laura and I were determined to approach the situation with caution and preparedness. While we navigated the complexities of the new information, an unexpected development occurred that would introduce a new ally into our story. It began one afternoon when I received a phone call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was that of a woman named Emily Thompson, a journalist who had been covering the fallout from Tom's business dealings and legal troubles. Her investigation had uncovered additional details about Tom's activities, and she wanted to share her findings with me. Emily requested a meeting at a local cafe known for its quiet atmosphere. Intrigued and somewhat skeptical, I agreed to meet her the following day. When I arrived at the cafe, Emily greeted me with a friendly smile and a firm handshake. "Mr. Adams," she said, "thank you for meeting with me. I understand you've been dealing with quite a bit lately, and I have some information that I believe will be of significant interest to you." We settled into a corner booth, and Emily began to explain her recent investigative work. "I've been following Tom's activities closely, and I've uncovered some crucial details that might shed more light on his motivations and actions. It seems that Tom's manipulations were part of a larger scheme involving several high-profile individuals and organizations." She handed me a folder containing her research, which included documents, photographs, and notes from interviews with various sources. The evidence revealed that Tom's deceit extended into several sectors, with connections to influential figures and hidden agendas. Tom's attempts to manipulate the legal system and his relationships were part of a broader strategy to regain control over his assets and influence, Emily explained. His recent actions were calculated moves designed to rehabilitate his image and position himself advantageously for future endeavors. The information was eye-opening and added another layer to our understanding of Tom's behavior. Emily's research provided a clearer picture of the scope of Tom's manipulations and the extent to which he had been involved in orchestrating his narrative. "Why are you sharing this with me?" I asked Emily. "What's your angle in all of this?" Emily leaned in, her expression serious. "I'm committed to uncovering the truth and holding individuals accountable for their actions. Your story and experiences with Tom are a crucial part of the larger picture. I want to ensure that the full extent of his actions is revealed and that justice is served." Her dedication to uncovering the truth was evident, and I appreciated her willingness to share her findings. It was clear that Emily's work aligned with my own goal of exposing the reality behind Tom's manipulations. Over the next few weeks, Emily and I collaborated closely, sharing information and strategizing how to bring Tom's actions to light. Her journalistic skills and investigative insights proved invaluable, and together, we worked to ensure that the truth was accurately and comprehensively reported. Emily's involvement also brought a sense of validation and support to our efforts. It was reassuring to have an ally who is dedicated to uncovering the full scope of Tom's deceit and holding those responsible accountable. As the media coverage of Tom's activities increased, it became evident that the combined efforts of Emily's investigation and the legal actions we had taken were making an impact. The revelations sparked public interest and scrutiny, and the pressure on Tom grew. Throughout this period, Laura and I continued to focus on our relationship and personal growth, even as the situation with Tom unfolded in the public eye. Emily's support provided a sense of direction and purpose, and we were grateful for her dedication to uncovering the truth. The unexpected ally had played a crucial role in our journey, and her work reinforced the importance of pursuing justice and transparency. With Emily's help, we were able to navigate the complexities of the situation with greater confidence and clarity. As the story continued to evolve, I felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. The collaboration with Emily and the ongoing support from Laura had strengthened my resolve to seek truth and justice, and I was committed to seeing the journey through to its resolution. The chapter on unexpected alliances and revelations brought new dimensions to our story, and it served as a reminder of the power of collaboration and the importance of staying steadfast in the pursuit of truth. With Emily's help and Laura's unwavering support, I was ready to face the next phase of our journey with optimism and resilience. As Emily's investigation continued to gain traction, the media attention surrounding Tom's manipulations intensified. The public scrutiny brought a sense of urgency and pressure to the situation. The turning point in the case was approaching, and it was clear that the culmination of our efforts was imminent. One morning, as I was going over some of Emily's latest findings, I received a call from Tom's lawyer. The message was straightforward. Tom wanted to negotiate a settlement. Given the mounting evidence and the growing media attention, he was seeking to resolve the situation without further public exposure. I was both surprised and wary. The idea of negotiating with Tom seemed like a risky move, but it also presented an opportunity to address the situation in a controlled manner. Laura and I discussed the proposal extensively. We weighed the potential benefits and drawbacks, considering how a settlement might impact our pursuit of justice and our peace of mind. After careful consideration, I decided to agree to a preliminary meeting with Tom's lawyer to discuss the terms of the settlement. The meeting was scheduled for the following week, and I prepared by reviewing all the relevant information and consulting with Emily and Mr. Green. On the day of the meeting, I arrived at Tom's lawyer's office, feeling a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Tom's lawyer, a sharp and experienced attorney named Richard Hayes, greeted me and led me into a conference room where we would discuss the terms. Richard outlined Tom's proposal, a substantial financial settlement in exchange for a mutual agreement to avoid further legal actions and public disclosures. Tom was also willing to make a public apology, though it would be carefully worded to minimize further damage to his reputation. Tom's goal is to put this matter behind him and to move forward, Richard explained. He's prepared to make significant concessions to resolve the situation amicably. The offer was tempting. The financial settlement could provide compensation for the distress and impact Tom's actions had caused, and the public apology might offer a form of closure. However, there were significant concerns about the potential implications of accepting such a settlement. I took some time to consider the offer before responding. I knew that accepting the settlement would mean foregoing further legal actions and public scrutiny. While it might provide immediate relief, it could also leave certain aspects of Tom's actions unresolved and prevent a more comprehensive account of the truth from emerging. After deliberating with Laura, Emily, and Mr. Green, I decided to negotiate further. I wanted to ensure that any agreement was fair and that it adequately addressed the damage Tom's actions had caused. I also wanted to make sure that any settlement did not prevent us from pursuing additional avenues of accountability if needed. In the subsequent meetings, I pushed for more favorable terms, including a more detailed public statement from Tom, acknowledging his wrongdoing and the impact of his actions. Richard was receptive to the negotiations, and we eventually reached a compromise that addressed many of our concerns. The final agreement included a substantial financial settlement, a public apology from Tom that was more comprehensive than initially proposed, and a commitment from Tom to support measures aimed at preventing similar issues in the future. The terms were agreed upon, and the settlement was formalized. The resolution marked a turning point in the case. It provided a sense of closure and allowed us to move forward with our lives while also holding Tom accountable for his actions. The public apology and settlement were not perfect, but they represented a significant step toward addressing the damage caused by Tom's manipulations. With the settlement in place, Emily continued to cover the story, ensuring that the public remained informed about the outcome. Her reporting highlighted the importance of accountability and the complexities of navigating legal and personal challenges. Laura and I took this opportunity to focus on rebuilding and moving forward. We embraced the new chapter of our lives with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to supporting each other. The journey had been arduous, but it had also been transformative, reinforcing our bond and shaping our outlook on the future. The turning point in the case had been a pivotal moment, providing both resolution and a renewed focus on the positive aspects of our lives. As we moved forward, we remained grateful for the lessons learned and the support we had received throughout the process. The next chapter was one of rebuilding, growth, and embracing the possibilities of the future with optimism and resilience. With the settlement finalized and the case against Tom resolved, Laura and I began to focus on the next phase of our lives, healing and moving forward. The resolution of the legal matters provided a sense of closure, but the emotional and psychological impact of the events required attention and care. The weeks following the settlement were a period of adjustment. We sought to reclaim our sense of normalcy and nurture our relationship, which had been tested and strengthened by the challenges we faced. Our primary goal was to heal from the turmoil and to build a positive, forward-looking future. Laura and I decided to start by attending counseling sessions together. We felt that professional guidance would be beneficial in processing the emotional aftermath of the ordeal and in strengthening our communication and connection. Our therapist, Dr. Harris, was a compassionate and insightful professional who helped us navigate our feelings and experiences. During our sessions, We explored the impact of the events on our relationship and individual well-being. We discussed our feelings of betrayal, trust, and resilience, and we worked on strategies for coping and moving forward. Dr. Harris encouraged us to express our emotions openly and to support each other through the healing process. One of the key aspects of our healing journey was focusing on self-care and personal growth. Laura and I dedicated time to activities that brought us joy and relaxation. We resumed hobbies and interests that had been sidelined during the turmoil, such as hiking, reading, and cooking together. Engaging in these activities helped us reconnect with ourselves and each other. We also made a conscious effort to build new experiences and memories. We planned a series of weekend getaways to different destinations, each offering opportunities for adventure and exploration. These trips allowed us to create positive experiences and to rediscover the excitement and joy in our lives. In addition to our healing, we began to reflect on how the experience had shaped our perspectives and goals. The challenges we faced had prompted us to reevaluate our priorities and aspirations. We set new goals for our future, both individually and as a couple, and began working toward them with renewed enthusiasm. As part of our commitment to personal growth, we also sought to give back to others. We became involved in community organizations and support groups that focused on helping individuals who had faced similar challenges. Volunteering and sharing our experiences with others provided a sense of purpose and fulfillment. One particular project that resonated with us was working with a local charity that supported victims of fraud and manipulation. We participated in fundraising events and awareness campaigns, using our story to raise awareness and provide support to those affected by similar situations. Throughout the healing process, we remained grateful for the support of our friends, family, and professionals. Their encouragement and understanding played a crucial role in our journey, and we were thankful for the network of support that had helped us navigate the challenges. As time passed, Laura and I continued to grow stronger and more resilient. The healing process was ongoing, but we felt a sense of progress and renewal. The experience taught us valuable lessons about the importance of self-care, communication, and the power of overcoming adversity. Looking ahead, we embraced the future with a sense of hope and optimism. The journey we had endured had shaped us in profound ways, but it had also strengthened our bond and our commitment to each other. We were excited about the possibilities that lay ahead and were determined to build a future defined by positivity, growth, and shared experiences. The healing process was an integral part of our journey, and it marked a significant step toward rebuilding and moving forward. As we continued to embrace life with renewed purpose and clarity, we were ready to face the future with confidence and resilience, knowing that we had the strength to overcome any challenge that came our way. As we continued to heal and build a new chapter in our lives, Laura and I found ourselves reflecting on the journey we had endured and looking forward to the future with a sense of renewal and optimism. The challenges we had faced had tested us, but they had also led us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship. Our focus shifted towards embracing the new opportunities and possibilities that lay ahead. With the legal battles behind us and the emotional healing well underway, we began to envision a future that was defined by growth, joy, and fulfillment. One of the first steps we took was to revamp our living space. We decided to renovate our home to reflect the positive changes we had made and to create an environment that fostered peace and happiness. The renovation project was a collaborative effort, allowing us to design a space that resonated with our new outlook on life. We chose bright, calming colors and added personal touches that symbolized our journey and growth. In addition to revamping our home, we also made a conscious effort to pursue new experiences and adventures. Laura and I took up new hobbies and activities that we had always been interested in but had never had the chance to explore. We enrolled in cooking classes, took up painting, and began traveling to destinations we had long dreamed of visiting. These new experiences added excitement and joy to our lives, and they provided us with opportunities to bond and create lasting memories. Our professional lives also began to take on new dimensions. Laura decided to pursue a new career path that aligned with her passions and interests. She had always been interested in environmental advocacy, and she leaped to work with a nonprofit organization dedicated to sustainability and conservation. Her new role brought her a sense of purpose and fulfillment, and she thrived in her new career. I, too, embarked on a new professional journey. I started a consulting business focused on helping individuals and organizations navigate complex situations and challenges. My experiences from the past year have equipped me with unique insights and skills that I was eager to apply in a new and meaningful way. The work was rewarding and allowed me to contribute positively to others' lives. As we embraced these new opportunities, we also focused on strengthening our relationship and maintaining the positive changes we had made. We continued to attend counseling sessions to support our ongoing growth and to ensure that we remained connected and communicative. Our commitment to each other and our relationship was a cornerstone of our renewed sense of purpose. Our renewed outlook on life also inspired us to give back to the community in meaningful ways. We became involved in various charitable activities and initiatives, using our experiences and resources to support causes that were important to us. We participated in community events, supported local organizations, and volunteered our time to make a positive impact. One of the highlights of our giving back efforts was organizing a fundraising gala for the charity we had previously supported. The event was a success, raising significant funds for victims of fraud and manipulation. It was a testament to our commitment to helping others and to the strength of our journey. As we continued to build our new life, we remained grateful for the support we had received and for the lessons we had learned. The experiences of the past year had shaped us in profound ways, and we were determined to embrace the future with a sense of hope and possibility. The new beginning was characterized by a sense of renewal and growth. We looked forward to the future with excitement and optimism, knowing that we had the strength and resilience to navigate any challenges that might come our way. The journey had been difficult, but it had also been transformative, leading us to a place of greater understanding and fulfillment. Laura and I were ready to embrace the next chapter of our lives with open hearts and minds. We were excited about the opportunities that lay ahead and were committed to building a future defined by joy, growth, and shared experiences. The new beginning was a reflection of our journey and a testament to our resilience and determination. Just as we were settling into our new routine and enjoying the fruits of our hard-won peace, an unexpected encounter threw another curveball into our lives. It was a reminder that, even in times of stability, the past could resurface in unexpected ways. One crisp autumn afternoon, Laura and I decided to visit a local farmer's market. It had become one of our favorite weekend activities, an opportunity to enjoy fresh produce, browse artisan stalls, and relax in each other's company. As we strolled through the market, sampling cheeses and chatting with vendors, we felt a sense of contentment and normalcy. We had just stopped at a stall selling homemade pastries when I saw someone out of the corner of my eye. The person was standing a few feet away, browsing through some handcrafted items. I froze, my heart racing as I recognized the familiar face, Tom's ex-business partner, Greg Morris. Greg and I had crossed paths during the legal proceedings, but I hadn't expected to see him in such a casual setting. He had been a key figure in Tom's business dealings and had played a significant role in the complications we had faced. Seeing him here, seemingly enjoying a normal day at the market, was unsettling. Laura noticed my reaction and followed my gaze. "Is that Greg Morris?" she asked quietly. I nodded, my mind racing. "Yes, it is." Laura and I exchanged a glance, both unsure of how to proceed. After a moment's hesitation, I decided to approach Greg. It was important to address the situation calmly and assertively, especially given the history between us. "Greg," I said as I walked up to him, "it's been a while. How are you?" Greg looked up, surprised to see me. "Oh, Mr. Adams, it's been a while indeed. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you and Laura?" "We're doing fine," I replied, trying to maintain a polite demeanor despite the awkwardness of the encounter. "I didn't expect to run into you here." Greg offered a strained smile. "Yes, it's quite a coincidence. I come here often. It's a nice place to unwind." We exchanged pleasantries, and I could sense that Greg was uncomfortable. The conversation was strained, with both of us making polite small talk. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more beneath the surface, especially given Greg's role in the past. As the conversation progressed, Greg seemed to become more guarded. He spoke in generalities and avoided discussing any specifics about his current activities or business. I sensed that he was wary of revealing too much, which only fueled my curiosity. After a few more minutes of awkward conversation, Greg excused himself, citing a prior engagement. As he walked away, Laura and I were left with a mixture of confusion and concern. "That was strange," Laura said, as we resumed our walk through the market. "Do you think Greg's presence here means anything?" "It's hard to say," I replied. "It's possible that he's just trying to move on and live a normal life. But given the past, I can't help but wonder if there's more to it." We decided to keep an eye out for any further developments. While the encounter was unsettling, it also reinforced the importance of staying vigilant and being prepared for unexpected challenges. In the days that followed, I remained alert to any signs of unusual activity or developments related to Greg. I also discussed the encounter with Emily and Mr. Green to see if they had any insights or advice on how to handle the situation. Emily suggested that we maintain a cautious but open approach. "It's important to stay informed, but not to jump to conclusions," she advised. "Keep an eye on any patterns or behaviors that seem unusual, and be prepared to act if necessary." Laura and I agreed with Emily's advice and decided to continue focusing on our healing and growth while remaining aware of any potential implications of the encounter with Greg. We knew that the journey had taught us to be resilient and adaptable, and we were determined to handle any new challenges with the same strength and clarity we had shown before. The unexpected encounter with Greg Morris was a reminder that the past could resurface in unforeseen ways. It reinforced our commitment to staying vigilant and proactive while continuing to embrace the positive changes in our lives. As we moved forward, we remained hopeful and determined to navigate whatever came our way. The experience underscored the importance of resilience and adaptability, and we were prepared to face any new challenges with confidence and resolve. The encounter with Greg Morris had left me unsettled and vigilant. As weeks passed, I kept a close watch on any developments related to Greg, but there were no immediate signs of unusual activity. Life continued to settle into a new routine, and Laura and I focused on our personal and professional growth. Then, one evening, while reviewing some documents at home, I received an unexpected call from Emily. Her voice was tinged with urgency, and she asked if we could meet immediately. The tone of her message suggested that she had uncovered something significant. We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe where we could discuss the matter privately. When I arrived, Emily was already there, her expression serious. We exchanged greetings, and I could sense that whatever she had discovered was important. "Mr. Adams," Emily began, "I have some new information that I think you need to see. It's about Greg Morris." My heart skipped a beat. "What have you found?" Emily handed me a folder containing documents and notes. "I've been following up on some leads, and it seems that Greg is involved in a scheme that could be connected to the same network that Tom was part of. His activities have raised some red flags." I opened the folder and began reviewing the contents. The documents included financial records, emails, and other evidence suggesting that Greg was involved in dubious business practices. The information indicated that Greg might be working with individuals who had previously been associated with Tom's manipulations. Emily continued, "It appears that Greg's recent activities align with some of the patterns we saw with Tom. There's a possibility that Greg is trying to leverage the situation for his benefit or to cover up other activities." The revelation was shocking. While I had suspected that Greg's presence at the market might have been more than a mere coincidence, this evidence confirmed my concerns. Greg seemed to be entangled in a network of deceit and manipulation that extended beyond what we had previously encountered. We discussed the implications of the new information and the potential next steps. Emily suggested that we consider reporting Greg's activities to the authorities, as the evidence indicated that he might be involved in illegal activities that warranted further investigation. Given the connections between Greg and Tom's network, it might be worth pursuing this angle, Emily advised. We need to be cautious but also proactive in addressing any potential threats. I agreed with Emily's assessment. The new revelation presented an opportunity to address ongoing issues and to prevent further complications. I contacted Mr. Green to discuss the situation and to explore legal options for addressing Greg's activities. Mr. Green recommended that we work with law enforcement to ensure that the evidence was properly handled and that any necessary actions were taken. We agreed to proceed with this course of action and to collaborate with the appropriate authorities. The following weeks were filled with meetings, investigations, and preparations for potential legal actions. Emily continued to assist with her investigative skills, providing additional insights and support as we navigated the complexities of the situation. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Greg was indeed part of a broader network of individuals involved in deceptive practices. The authorities took the evidence seriously, and there were indications that legal actions might be forthcoming. Throughout this period, Laura and I remained focused on our well-being and continued to prioritize our relationship and personal growth. We understood the importance of addressing the situation, but also recognized the need to maintain balance and resilience. The revelation about Greg Morris marked another significant chapter in our journey. It reinforced the importance of vigilance and the value of uncovering the truth, even when it meant confronting uncomfortable realities. As the situation continued to develop, we remained hopeful and committed to seeing the process through. The experience underscored the complexities of navigating challenges and the importance of staying proactive and informed. With Emily's support and Mr. Green's guidance, we were prepared to handle the situation and move forward with confidence. The new revelation had brought unexpected twists to our journey, but it also reaffirmed our determination to address issues with clarity and resolve. As we faced this new chapter, Laura and I were reminded of our strength and resilience. We were ready to embrace the future with optimism, knowing that we had the tools and support to navigate any challenges that lay ahead. The journey was far from over, but we were committed to seeing it through with integrity and purpose.